Romans had zero vitamin deficiency for 800 years. This is why. There is a plant growing in your yard right now that the Roman Empire consumed daily for over 8 centuries. Soldiers carried it on campaigns from Britain to Persia. Physicians prescribed it from Alexandria to Constantinople. And sometime in the last 100 years, we decided to call it a weed and spray it with poison. The dandelion, Taraxacum officinale, is not native to North America. It was brought here deliberately. European settlers packed the seeds alongside grain and livestock because they understood something we have forgotten, that this plant is not an inconvenience. It is a complete nutritional system in a single organism. Roman physician Galen documented dandelion use in 170 AD, cataloging it as a treatment for liver obstruction, digestive failure, and what he called weakness of the blood. He was not writing about folklore. He was writing about clinical observation across decades of practice serving the Roman military. The entire plant is edible, root to flower. The leaves contain more beta-carotene than carrots, more calcium than milk, more iron than spinach, and more potassium than bananas. A single cup of raw dandelion greens delivers over 500% of your daily vitamin K requirement. The Romans did not take supplements. They ate dandelions. In 77 AD, Pliny the Elder documented dandelion in his encyclopedic work, Naturalis Historia, a 37-volume catalog of Roman botanical knowledge. He described it as essential to the military diet, noting that legions stationed in northern climates used it specifically to prevent the bleeding gums and joint weakness we now call scurvy. They solved in 77 AD what British sailors were dying from in 1740. The Arab physician Ibn Sina, known in the West as Avicenna, wrote about dandelion in his Canon of Medicine in 1025 AD. He called it a sovereign remedy for the liver and kidneys, describing a preparation of the root that he used to treat jaundice and fluid retention. His canon was the primary medical textbook used in European universities until 1650. Every physician trained for 600 years knew what dandelion root did. Welsh physicians in the 13th century, the physicians of Midfi, compiled one of the most complete botanical medicinal records in the medieval world. Dandelion appears in over 40 of their documented remedies. They use the milky sap topically for skin conditions, the root as a digestive bitter, and the flower as a mood stabilizer, they described as lifting heaviness of spirit. Modern research has since identified dandelion's effect on dopamine pathways. In traditional Chinese medicine, dandelion, known as pu gong ying, has been documented continuously since at least the 7th century Tang dynasty. The Bencao Gongmu, the great Chinese pharmacopoeia compiled by Li Shizhen in 1578, lists dandelion as a treatment for breast inflammation, liver heat, digestive blockage, and respiratory infection. It describes preparation methods that are chemically sophisticated by any modern standard. Native American nations across the continent used dandelion independently, centuries before European contact made that possible. The Ojibwe used the root for kidney disease. The Iroquois used it for liver conditions and heartburn. The Mohegan used it to treat anemia. Each civilization with no contact with Rome or Arabia arrived at the same conclusions about the same plant. That is not coincidence. That is chemistry. By the 18th century, dandelion was listed in the official pharmacopoeias of Britain, France, Germany, and the United States. It was a regulated medicine. Apothecaries stocked it. Physicians prescribed it. The United States Pharmacopoeia included dandelion root from 1831 until 1926. Then something changed, and the dandelion went from medicine to menace almost overnight. In 1938, the chemical company Dow introduced 2-Comin-4-D, one of the first synthetic broadleaf herbicides. It was initially developed as part of the United States biological weapons program during World War II. After the war, Dow needed a commercial market for it. The American lawn became that market. 2-Comin-4-D kills dandelions. It does not kill grass. A product was sold. A narrative followed. The post-war suburban lawn ideal was not organic. It was manufactured. Publications funded by the chemical industry began running features on the perfect lawn, and the dandelion was cast as the enemy. Garden clubs, neighborhood associations, and municipal codes began treating dandelion growth as a sign of neglect. Within a single generation, a plant that had fed civilizations became a social liability. The American herbicide market is now worth over $12 billion annually. Dandelion-specific killers represent one of the largest product subcategories. The companies selling those products have no financial interest in you knowing that the plant they are helping you kill contains compounds currently being studied at the University of Windsor in Ontario for their selective cytotoxicity against cancer cells, meaning they kill cancer cells without harming healthy ones. In 2011, researcher Dr. Siyaram Pandey at the University of Windsor published findings showing that dandelion root extract induced apoptosis, programmed cell death, in human leukemia cells while leaving healthy blood cells unaffected. The study was peer-reviewed and published in Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine. It was not picked up by a single major American news outlet. The liver is the body's primary filtration organ, processing over 500 distinct biochemical functions. Dandelion root contains taraxacin and taraxacerin, bitter sesquiterpene lactones that stimulate bile production in the liver and gallbladder. Increased bile flow directly improves fat digestion, cholesterol metabolism, and the elimination of waste compounds. Pharmaceutical bile acid sequestrants do the same thing. They cost between $150 and $400 per month. Dandelion root grows in your yard for free. In 1926, when dandelion was quietly removed from the United States Pharmacopoeia, there was no public announcement. No study had disproven its efficacy. No safety concern had been raised. The removal coincided with the consolidation of the American Medical Association's relationship with pharmaceutical manufacturers, a relationship that historian E. Richard Brown documented in his 1979 book, Rockefeller Medicine Men. The timing is not discussed in medical school. Dandelion's diuretic properties were so well established that in France it was given the folk name pissenlit. Roughly translated, wet the bed. French physicians used it clinically for edema and high blood pressure long before synthetic diuretics existed. Modern pharmaceutical diuretics, furosemide, hydrochlorothiazide. Deplete the body of potassium as a side effect. Dandelion is naturally high in potassium. It gives back what it takes. No pharmaceutical diuretic does that. The dandelion flower itself, the part most people mow over without a second thought, contains luteolin, a flavonoid with documented anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. A 2010 study in oxidative medicine and cellular longevity showed luteolin inhibits the same inflammatory pathways targeted by ibuprofen and aspirin. The flower opens in the morning and closes at night. It has been doing this since before Rome. It will still be doing it long after the companies selling ibuprofen are gone. In 2016, the European Medicines Agency published a formal monograph on Taraxacum officinale, officially recognizing dandelion root and leaf as established herbal medicines for the symptomatic relief of minor digestive disorders and increased urine production. Europe put it back in the pharmacopoeia. America has not. The same plant, the same continent where it was once official medicine, still classified as a noxious weed in 11 U.S. states. There is a detail that rarely appears in any discussion of dandelion suppression. In 2003, the Monsanto Corporation, now owned by Bayer, patented a dandelion variety. Patent number US 6538182. A corporation that sells the herbicide that kills dandelions also holds a patent on a dandelion. They own both ends of the transaction. Decide for yourself what that means. The revival of dandelion knowledge has not come from institutions. It has come from backyards, from foragers uploading to YouTube, from herbalists sharing through networks the pharmaceutical industry cannot reach, from people who got sick of being sick and started walking their property lines with open eyes. The knowledge was never gone. It was just made unfashionable. Fashion changes. Dandelion greens are best harvested in early spring before the plant flowers. That is when the leaves are least bitter and most nutrient-dense. You want young leaves from plants growing away from road runoff and pesticide-treated areas. If you do not spray your lawn and your neighbors do not spray theirs, your yard may already be one of the most valuable food sources within walking distance of your home. The root is where the medicine concentrates. Harvest dandelion root in autumn, when the plant pulls energy back down from the leaves and the root swells with stored nutrients and bitter compounds. Wash it, dry it, and roast it at 350 degrees until dark brown throughout. Ground dandelion root makes a coffee substitute that supports liver function rather than stressing the adrenal system the way caffeine does. Your grandparents may have called it chicory coffee. It was never just about the taste. Dandelion leaf tea is prepared by steeping 1 tablespoon of fresh or dried leaves in 8 ounces of boiling water for 10 minutes. Drink it before meals as a digestive bitter. The bitter taste on the tongue triggers a parasympathetic nervous system response, the rest and digest state, that improves stomach acid production, enzyme secretion, and bile flow simultaneously. A 10-minute cup of tea does what an entire shelf of digestive supplements attempts to approximate. Dandelion tincture, root extracted in 80-proof alcohol for 4 to 6 weeks, is the most potent preservation method for dandelion's active compounds. A standard dose is 30 drops in water, taken 3 times daily before meals. This is not fringe herbalism. This is the preparation method documented by the eclectic physicians of the 19th century, America's original botanical medical tradition, which treated patients at scale before pharmaceutical consolidation made it economically inconvenient. The dandelion's taproot breaks compacted soil. It mines calcium, iron, and potassium from deep in the earth and deposits them in its leaves, where rain washes them back into the topsoil when the plant dies. A lawn with dandelions is a lawn that is feeding itself. A lawn without them is a lawn on chemical life support. The dandelion is not competing with your grass. It is trying to repair the soil your grass is slowly exhausting. Bees cannot survive without dandelions. The dandelion is one of the first plants to flower in early spring, often the first pollen and nectar source available after winter. A study published in PLOS One in 2014 documented that dandelion makes up a critical component of honeybee spring nutrition in temperate climates. Every dandelion you kill in April is a decision against the food system that produces 1/3 of everything you eat. The connection is direct. It is not abstract. Dr. Jill Stansbury, a naturopathic physician and botanical medicine professor, has spent 3 decades documenting dandelion's clinical applications. She reports consistent results using dandelion preparations for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, urinary tract infections, and inflammatory skin conditions including eczema. She is not practicing alternative medicine. She is practicing the medicine that was standard before 1926. The word alternative only has meaning relative to what replaced it. You do not need a prescription. You do not need a supplement company. You do not need a health food store. You need to walk outside in the spring, look down, and recognize what has been there your entire life. The dandelion has survived every attempt to eradicate it, every herbicide, every HOA mandate, every municipal ordinance. It grows through concrete. It grows in tire tracks. It grows back every single time. It has been waiting for you to remember what it is. The Roman Empire fell. The Arab caliphates fell. The medieval apothecaries closed. The eclectic physicians were regulated out of existence. But the dandelion is still here, in the same form, with the same chemistry, doing the same thing it has done for 10,000 years. Civilizations rise and fall around it. The knowledge of what it does rises and falls with them. This time, you have the knowledge. What you do with it is the only question that matters. Stop spraying your lawn. Harvest young spring leaves before they flower. Roast the root for coffee. Steep the leaves as a digestive tea. If you grew up never hearing about dandelion, share this with someone who needs to know.